But then again, some people are saying that, if we can have fiscal autonomy for the federal, for the police, then we can as well have the state police, because it's about the same thing.
Actually, that's one of the areas I said I disagree with the report of the Parish.
Why?
Because rather than allowing a discussion and a debate on the issue of state police, it engaged in scaremongering that Nigeria will break up if we go the way of state police.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
How? Why?
I don't think so. Because we also need a bit of history here. In the First Republic and before First Republic, where we had these local police forces, native authority police, it happened in the West, it happened in the North. The East refused to set up one because they didn't think, with other national priorities, the original priorities they have, that they should spend their money setting up a local or regional police force. So they were happy with the federal police. So when you have a few states wanting to go the way of setting up, how on earth will it break up the Nigerian state? And then what I also don't agree on the other side of the debate, those who feel once you create a state police, that it will solve all our problems. It's also not true, because if you don't think about it carefully, with a view to addressing the concerns people have about it, it will end up being derailed. And what are these concerns? One is, will they be insulated from partisan political control? We see the way state independent electoral commission have now become appendages of the state government. Would they reflect the diversities of the communities they are going to serve? In a multi-ethnic state like Kano, Lagos, and all that, and you have a state police force that would draw its personnel from one particular ethnic group, it would create problems. So when you put all these problems up front, then we discuss how can we best structure this to address those concerns. But saying, once you go that way, we are going to break up, I beg to disagree.
So there should be a debate about it?
Principally, there should be serious debate about it.
Isn't that what we're having right now?
Yeah, but that's what they want to stifle by saying, don't go there. Once you go there, we're going to break apart. And I said, no, we're not going to break apart. We've come a long way to start
what
thinking
you said has just laid the foundation for against the fact that some people say that we do not have the cultural history, to put down the state police, merging it against the fact that they say, Americans have the cultural history to be able to ascertain federalism and then, put into action the place of state police.
But that's again a lie. Before we centralized the police, it started as local and regional. We had a Northern Nigeria police force, we have a Southern Nigeria police force that were merged in 1930 to create the Nigerian police force. So that history is there.
All right, just a moment. Let's go over now on the phone to Kemi Rotimi. He's a historian. He joins us via phone from Ife. Morning, can you hear us? And as a matter of fact, perhaps if you listened in to some of the discussions focusing on police reforms this morning, and then recommendations of the Pari Osayan Day Committee, and if you've seen some of the snippets generating a lot of controversy now, let me get your thoughts first and foremost on your views, I should say, on police reforms with respect to what seems to be making the headlines now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're welcome back.
Thank you.
After your hopefully restful holiday. But let me start with a request. You people will get the report much faster than some of us, because we are commenting now virtually in vacuum. I will not have had the privilege of reading the report. But we are using journalists or historians in a hurry. So I'm not surprised that we're commenting this very early. But as soon as you get the report, please let me have copies by mail. Now, I've listened to my friend Chukwuma, who's doing a good job of commenting on the snipers from the newspapers. Again, you can see the tough war between the Minister of Police Affairs, who is a retired naval officer, and the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who is a retired police officer, bringing their tough war into the open. Because that's all that you can pick from the reaction. Both Mr. Sayade's views and the minister's reaction. It's all about tough war. And that tells you that they must have been having a lot of friction between themselves. As I said, we are commenting just on the basis of snipers. Police reform this is a 13-year business now. This is about the first panel. Yep. And as I told you in January when I was in your studio, well, it's going to look like plus a chance, plus $2. Now, rather than now discuss the content of the report, we are now battling with the outbursts. For me, we are still talking about what do you do with the present police in the immediate. And I maintain the position I canvassed earlier. Let us take care of those who are doing the work now, especially the lower cadre personnel who actually do the policing that touches lives. Pay them in full and pay them on time, and there will be a significant difference. Now, as for what to do with the Minister of Police Affairs, is amusing. The Minister of Police Affairs is not a new creation. In the First Republic, there was a Minister of State in the office of the Prime Minister doing this work, and as Innocent has eloquently analyzed, there is a role for the ministry.
All right, let me pick up on something you just said. Just a moment. You talked about taking care of the police force now. Perhaps that suggests funding. What's your thoughts on how they should go about funding, especially if you cast your mind back to the fact that, the AFCC charged Kenny Martins of embezzling some 7,740 million naira belonging to the police equipment fund. So if all this is going down, how should we approach, or how should the question of funding for the police be approached?
I mentioned to you in January, and I repeat, whoever owns the police, you have to make up his mind how exactly and what exactly it wants from the police. Look, must you fund the police through the kind of fraud that the Police Equipment Foundation turned out to be? For operational command, for operational purposes, it is the office of the IG. I don't see what the problem is about giving money to the IG for operational purposes. Whatever you are giving to the Minister of Police Affairs may have to do with things like creating new divisions, building of barracks and such like things. But for operational purposes, it is the IG. So you are talking of funding the police, which is owned by the federal government now, through those two channels, i.e., you have to give money to the IG to disburse for operational purposes. Give money to the Minister of Police Affairs for whatever duties the President may assign to the ministry. Of course, you have the Police Service Commission, which is for promotion, appointment, and discipline. I'm sure they have no problem with how that is funded. So I don't think they are going to fund the police through the Kalu approach that the Police Equipment Foundation wants. That's your question.